Hey, what's going on, good people? Today we're going to talk about life after divorce. What's going on, good people? It's your boy James Harris, founder of a movement called Mental Health, which focuses on men's overall wellness, their mental health, physical health, and of course, their overall emotional health. And I'm also the author of a book called Man Just Express Yourself, which is an interactive planner guide for boys and men to better express themselves. I definitely appreciate all my parents who went out and got this tool for the young sons. My partners got this tool for the spouses doing these exercises over dinner and date night. I definitely appreciate you. Thank you. Salute to my fellows who definitely, got this tool to enhance their lifestyle overall. I definitely appreciate that. And thanks to my fellow clinicians who got this in our lobby or doing these as interventions in session. I definitely appreciate it. And if you want to get a copy of that book, definitely be sure to go to Amazon, Barnes& and Nobles, Target, Walmart, pretty much anywhere books are sold, including my website. Yes, and while you're on my website, be sure to grab my board game, Cheesy Dates, which is a good tool for couples or adults who want to do something different, have fun. One card deck is comprised of date ideas. The other card deck is those tough questions that you should ask within a relationship. I definitely appreciate everybody for your support. Continue to do that. If you're new here, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been here for a while, I definitely appreciate you helping me get monetized so you continue to stay liked, continue to share in groups and all those things that you do. Appreciate you. So, when we're talking about life after divorce, I think it's definitely important to understand that divorce is rarely easy. It makes the end of something that you thought would last a lifetime. I know a lot of people probably have been there because the divorce is always on the rise. It tends to increase each year. So, moving forward from a destruction can be really hard. It can definitely be hard. What you need to do first is, of course, understand that you're not alone within that process. Struggling with life after divorce is pretty common. Probably 50% of the people who get married tend to have a divorce, sadly, and they have difficulty moving on with their lifestyle. They're usually the other spouse who decides divorce is the answer, while the other spouse tend to want to make it work. So it all depends on where you are. If you are struggling with your life after divorce, you also need to know that you can get through it. You definitely can continue to grow and rise. Take this time to learn yourself. You can create a new lifestyle of yourself that feels good, feels something that you want to do, opposed to feeling like you're obligated to do something that the other person, you wanted to do something for the other person. And you definitely can find your genuine happiness. Learn yourself all over again. Allow yourself time to grieve. Yes, it's a part of lifestyle, and grieving is a part of that. You lost something significant. So grief is a normal part of divorce. You've been here before, sadly, with death and things like that, but I don't think people associate grief with things outside of death, which is unfortunate because grief is a part of different life circumstances. One of the ways the most common mistakes I see people make is, of course, not understanding grief and comparing themselves to their former spouse. They believe that this is, X is feeling better than them, then they should definitely feel good too. No, take your time within the process. Understand that you guys have different resiliency levels. Just because they moved on and probably dating or probably doing something else doesn't mean that they're not grieving. So you should do your process of grief and allow them to do their process of grief. There's also the ex, of course, who believe that they should feel bad, then you should too, which means they want to make it miserable for you. So just learn yourself, learn your partner, and hopefully you guys are amicable, and you're not putting that pressure on each other. Everyone need to heal at their own race and at their own pace. So make sure you're doing that. It can take some time. Check out my previous video on grief. I break down the different stages of grief too, which can be a tool that you can use. Another way that you should handle your divorce situation is definitely cut yourself some slack. People tend to think that they have to force emotions to change who they are within this present time. Again, go back to learning yourself, reevaluating different circumstances that you can prevent for your next relationship. What you can do to make a difference is, of course, change your perspective and work through the different feelings and emotions that you're having. Some I often say, of course, if you follow me on my social media, is feel your feelings. You definitely have to ensure that you're feeling your feelings, all of them, not just the ones that make you feel good at those present times. Once you understand that the fear can figure out the actions that you can take to address those concerns that you're probably having. Instead of beating yourself up, of course, you can feel a certain way at different times throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months, and you probably felt this way within your relationship. So definitely being proactive about dealing with your emotions and your feelings can definitely help you in the long run. And don't forget to nurture yourself. You definitely have to ensure that you're doing things for you now, not for the other party. And a lot of people struggle with this part. You know, it's not uncommon to put yourself in a position to where you're struggling with life after divorce. Simply taking care of yourself and being kind to yourself. Make sure you're doing that. It's definitely critical that you can nurture yourself so that you can have the energy physically and emotionally to do all the things that you wanted to do and that you need to do. Nurturing yourself, of course, can look different for everybody. You may like the massages or long walks or binge watching TV shows. Definitely do that. You know, try to take a nap. Do all those things. Do all those things that are therapeutic to you. You made me want to try to attend therapy, which is beneficial as well. Be sure that you, after you nurture yourself, be sure that you're putting yourself in a position to learn yourself again because you probably don't know who you are. Part of your identity was in this other person. So now that you got this time alone, you want to reevaluate who you are, what you like, what you plan to do, especially when you focus on struggling with the life after divorce. It can really be hard for you to recognize anything good about yourself. So at some point, you have to affirm yourself. You have to get back to esteeming yourself. You know, one of the best ways that you can do that is, again, shifting your perspective. You have grown within this marriage and the divorce, whether it was good or bad, whether it was your fault or their fault. You know, find that's essential part of growth that you need. And on that course, of course, you're going to reinvent yourself on the way. So when you've been, you know, half of a couple for a long period of time, losing that role can definitely make you question who you are. Again, regardless if it was your fault or their fault, you probably got these thoughts going through your head. You know, so you did things that your partner liked out of compromise, and you probably did some things that you didn't want to do. So again, that's part of reinventing yourself. This is the things that you like about yourself that separate you from your former role as that partner. What are your strengths? What are your unique attributes? All those things are important. What are you best at? These are questions that you probably don't even know because your identity was based on somebody else's approval or somebody else compromise or somebody else willing to accept you. You know, so what do you value about yourself is a question that you should ask. Um, of course, don't be afraid to ask for help when you're struggling with life after divorce. It can be a challenge to remember that you don't have to do everything on your own. It's definitely, you know, so hopefully you wasn't in a relationship where you cut off friends, family, and, you know, isolated yourself with this specific partner. And that happens as well. So, but listen, don't be afraid to ask for help. Yet there are plenty of people who can assist you and help you get through your life after divorce. And it may come with reevaluating previous relationships or increasing some relationships that you probably wish you should have kept. So chances are family and friends will be happy to help you, you know, whether they like your former spouse or not, you know. So it depends on who you are in the relationship that you have with those people. You can also hire people to help you do chores so that you don't have to, you know, have time or it might not be your desired skill. Some people within marriages have different roles that they take on. You know, partner probably took care of the house while you took care of the finances or while you did the mechanical things or whatever the case is. So now you adapting this new role of self-completion of doing everything that it requires, you know, so you definitely might need assistance, babysitter, uh, you know, a lawn person or whatever, somebody to get groceries, however you need to do it to ensure that you are moving forward. Again, that's the importance of not being able to be in fear of asking for help. And if you don't struggle facing, you feel like you're doing too much, which you can't handle it, then you'll probably get overwhelmed, start working yourself to more of a defeated feeling, and that's not what we want. And also, you definitely can probably find you a divorce coach or a support system, such as a therapist or some other coaching, or a support group for divorced people. You know, those can be beneficial to you because you will have a universality of people who've been there or gone through there. So you will see that, oh, I'm not alone with this. I got somebody to bounce ideas off. I got somebody to help me. And also, you definitely want to ensure that you're getting smart with your finances because, you know, it's probably half being that this other person is not going to contribute. So even if you paid all the bills while you were married, you know, you got to get up to speed on the financial aspect of that. Where is money going? Where money needs to be contributed? How it needs to be contributed. It is also important that, again, if it was a two income household, that now is going to be a one person household. You know, so taking charge of your finances is definitely key, and that can change over time because inflation continues to happen. So you want to ensure that you're putting yourself in the best position possible. And again, don't forget to celebrate being single. I know a lot of people hear divorce and feel like it's the end of the world, but you're coming back to the world, you're coming back to your own independence, so definitely be sure that you're celebrating it. When you come out of divorce, it's darkening. Celebrate the occasion, you know, whether that's taking a trip or whether that's having a party. You see it on social media all the time. Divorce parties are increased, they're on the rise. And because most people were in marriages and didn't want to leave because of fear of embarrassment or fear of what the church might say or the family might say, but you probably was in a miserable situation. So now that you're out of that situation, you definitely can live and be free and be happy. So do that. And of course, once things continue to go right within your life, once you establish yourself as a single individual, you've done the work, you've processed a lot of different things, you don't rush into a relationship, but of course, you probably gonna want to start dating again. So flattering the attention that you get definitely might inflate your ego. So definitely be prepared for that. How do you know if it's too early or to put yourself out there? That would be up to you to decide. Do what's best for you and your situation. But of course, you want to ensure that you are working on yourself wholeheartedly and increasing the areas that you probably wasn't as full in your previous relationships, because we want those to be learning experiences. No time to limit, because the fact, of course, we're all different. You do have previous experience based on those previous relationships, and of course, this was a marriage. And again, these are things that you probably can process within therapy, and then you will probably know, like, I still need to do a lot of self work, or I think I'm ready to give somebody else a piece of me again. You know, so doing the work is part critical, so you don't hurt yourself or you don't hurt the next person. That's definitely important too, because sometimes people move on too fast and wind up hurting or misusing this innocent person when you're not ready. So definitely be sure that you're doing that. Keep it light, have fun. You know, do what's best for you in that situation when it is coming to dating, because you don't want to be too reckless and too wild with it. You definitely want to ensure that it's fun, it's safe, and you communicate effectively, because if you're dating multiple people, you don't want it to be a surprise to somebody else or whatever the case is. So be as open and transparent as possible, so you're not putting yourself at risk or nobody else at risk. You don't need to find a soulmate immediately, just somebody for pleasant dinners and hanging out with, movies and stuff like that, cheesy dates. Those are good ideas. So definitely put yourself in a position to have the company and the companionship of somebody else. But you definitely want to ensure that you're taking it slow and not rushing it. It can be very tempting to bed somebody right away, you know, as a way to get over that person, or the way that you feel like that you're coping. Because you're human, you have desires, but definitely take precaution. Casual sex rarely soothes what really hurts you, you know, and that can be a deflection. That can be something that you're doing just to fill that void, and that's not what we want to do. So again, process different emotions, process different feelings. Go to therapy if you have to. Work on yourself. Work on the things that probably wasn't fulfilling in your previous relationship, so you can learn from those things. Hey, so I appreciate it. That was Life After Divorce. Hit me up if you got any questions. You know, many people been there. It's on the rise. So don't feel bad if you are in that situation. Don't feel like you're alone. Definitely reach out. I definitely appreciate you.